Hi everyone, and welcome to this week's newsletter video. As promised, we're going to bring you our third instalment this week of the next 5 major rule changes for this year. And today we find ourselves just down the right hand side of the first hole here at Romley, and we're now in what is called a penalty area. Okay. You might be thinking, what on earth is a penalty area? Well, actually penalty areas replace water hazards and hazards. Okay, so why have they changed it? Well, to be honest, I think it's really just to try and simplify the terminology really, so that every kind of ditch, pond, brook, stream, dike is just basically called a penalty area now. And one of the big benefits that golf clubs had this year is that we could make all penalty areas red staked, as you can see behind me. So I think this was one of the ones that was changed. Now, the benefit of a red stake as opposed to the old yellows is that we have that third option when it comes to dropping the ball. Okay, so under red stakes, what we're allowed to do is we're allowed to drop a ball back into play from the edge of the hazard. Okay, so wherever the ball crossed the hazard, we could then measure 2 club lengths using our longest club, as we talked about in previous weeks, and we can just drop the ball straight into play. So hopefully that should speed things up, because what I haven't got to do is I haven't got to walk all the way back to where I played my last shot from, or I don't have to take sort of stroking distance, because again, sometimes stroking distance isn't always possible. So I think everyone's hoping that this definitely is going to benefit golf and it's going to speed up play. Now, the other thing that I think really is good is, as I'm doing here, we can touch the ground now in penalty areas. Yeah, massive, this one I think. So, you know, when you walk into it, you're allowed to use the club to stabilise yourself. You can take more clubs into the penalty area and you can place them on the ground. But more importantly, when we address the ball, we're entitled now to touch the ground. Okay, so I think this really is going to make these shots a lot easier to play, because I think we've all been in a situation in the past where we've wanted to play it but couldn't get the golf club anywhere near the ball, and then there's always that luck that you make contact, whereas now at least we've got half a chance. But bear in mind everyone, the one thing you can't do is you can't use the club to improve the lie. So you can't sort of be tapping the grass down around the ball trying to improve things. Okay, so we're only allowed to kind of lightly put the club down as per normal. Okay, but I definitely think that's going to be a massive help everyone. So yeah, hopefully that's better explained what penalty areas are and how it's going to hopefully benefit your golf. Okay everyone, now we've found ourselves in the bunker on the right hand side of the first, and you can see unfortunately the ball's plugged in the lip. Now, under the old rules you probably would have given it a go, okay, but there's a big chance that maybe that ball won't come out and it will kind of ping back into the bunker, or even worse. Now, under the new rules we do have an extra option, okay, and that is we can declare the ball unplayable now in any bunker 24/7, okay, under a 2-shot penalty. Okay, so what does this mean? Well, we can actually drop the ball on the line of play, okay, which is basically trying to keep the line between the ball and the flag, and we can go back out of the bunker, and then we can obviously put a ball into play inside that sort of 1 club length semicircle. So if Graham sort of turns round, you can see that we've already positioned the ball there. So if I quickly catch up, hello, so you can see here we go. So we've kind of put the ball on the line of play. You know, the only difference really now is it costs you 2 shots, okay, but you've got to think about it, I suppose, in the bigger scheme of things, that by trying to play a ball that's maybe sometimes buried under the lip, it could cost you way more than that in medal play, okay. So yes, it's 2 shots, but again, sometimes it could be the lesser of all evils, this one. So I think this will be a useful rule to have. Of course, you're not going to try and use it all the time, because if you could have got it out first time, you're saving yourself a shot. But I think definitely there are some situations around this golf course where this rule may be quite useful, especially in those bunkers on the 18th, because it's very easy to get the ball, you know, kind of almost under the lip, where it's impossible to get the ball out of everyone. So just remember, for this, it's a 2-shot penalty. We can drop the ball out of the bunker on the line of play, and then again, once we find that sort of place we want to drop it, we have that 1 club length sort of semicircle, that relief area, to drop the ball from knee height. Okay. Okay everyone, we've finally found ourselves on the green here on the first hole, after what could probably be described as the start from hell, where we've gone into a penalty area, we've had the ball plugged in a bunker, and finally we've found ourselves on the green. And you would be thinking, great, my luck is changing, but accidentally what you've done is you've marked the ball and then you've dropped the ball, and you've nudged your ball marker. What would happen? Okay, well, luckily under the new rules, okay, if you, your partner, your caddy accidentally move the ball or the ball marker, okay, you are now entitled to replace the ball as near as possible to where it originally lay for no penalty. Okay, so hopefully a good example I think you could use for this under the old rules is when the ball was oscillating. So if you think of it before, you know, we've maybe addressed the ball and the ball was kind of oscillating with the wind. Now under the old rules, if the ball oscillated and then returned back to its original sort of starting position, its original axis, there was no penalty. But if the ball oscillated and rolled off its original axis, there was, okay? Whereas that's gone now, which I think is great news, because it always felt a bit harsh that you've done nothing wrong, really. It was just the conditions or the speed of the greens that's allowed the ball to move. And I think we saw some good examples of that on some tour events. I think it was last year or the year before, where the ball was moving around on the green. So, you know, under the new rules, if you, your caddy or your partner accidentally move the ball either before it's marked or after it's marked, okay, you can replace the ball as near as possible to where it originally lay and a no penalty, okay. Now, the only exception to this rule, I guess, is natural. So if you're walking to the green and the wind blows the ball off the green before you've got there, that would be what we class almost as rubber the green, okay? You would just have to continue to play that ball from wherever it stopped, okay? So, you know, it's got to be kind of you accidentally moving it, not Mother Nature, okay? So I think that's going to be a good one, and, you know, I think that certainly in certain times of the year it's going to be more useful than others, but hopefully now, you know, when you set up to a golf ball, you know, you haven't got to worry about the fear of sort of, you know, hovering the golf club above the ball like we used to on sort of windy days in the winter. You know, now you can hopefully have the confidence of grounding the club, reading your putt, and hopefully knocking it in. Oh, maybe if you hit it hard enough you might. Anyway, that's enough from me this week. As always, Graham's written a little bit more detail of these rules that we've covered today. So we amalgamated two, obviously in the penalty area. We've talked about plugged balls in bunkers, or the new penalty that you can take from bunkers, and obviously we've amalgamated two for putting, everyone. So there's only 5 left, which will bring you next week. I hope you're enjoying it. Keep reading this week's newsletter below, and you can hear all about our experience last week, where we spent some time with Callaway and learned all about this year's Rogue Flash driver, and we had the opportunity to have a mess around in the studio, and I think Graham's obviously talked a little bit about that. So have a great week everyone. The snow's gone, golf's back on, so enjoy yourselves and see you soon. See you later.